Good day, everybody. So, I'm Jamie. This is Layla. So why don't you tell us where we're at?
We are at Dubai Mall. We're in front of the fountain, and this is Jamie's first trip to the UAE. This is something we've been planning for a year and a half now.
We've been talking about it at least that long.
Yep. Jamie's here to do the first ever training, and I'm honored to assist. And yeah.
So one of the reasons I wanted to shoot this video today, my first full day in Dubai, really we have a message for a lot of the trainees in our program, which is talk to people at your trainings, network at your trainings, because you never know what's going to come of it. So Layla and I did our part 2 at the same training in Minneapolis. At the Bloomington Hilton in 2006. And one of the reasons I went to Minneapolis to take my part 2 is I had taken my part 1 earlier that year in Bethesda, Maryland, and I was using EMDR so much. I had planned on taking the part 2 much later, but I felt I had to travel somewhere to take the training to get more skills for part 2. So I ended up in Bloomington, Minnesota, right by the Mall of America, if you get that reference. And as Layla was reminding me, we were not even in the same small group or the same practicum, but we met at dinner one night. What do you recall about that?
Yeah, there was this restaurant in the place, and it was do your own. And we were sitting at a table, and there was one spot open, and Jamie just came around and said, "Is there anybody sitting here?" And I said, "No."
And I believe we bonded over the doctoral journey.
Yes.
You had just finished your doctorate. I had just started mine, or was thick into it, and we had talked about that, and we exchanged emails, and then of all things stayed in touch on LinkedIn.
And you left me a recommendation, my very first, and I thought, how kind.
And LinkedIn is kind of like the social media we just kind of all do as an afterthought. It was starting to become a thing then, and then eventually you went over to Facebook, and that's when I followed your journey about coming to Dubai to work for the 8 years you were here.
And I've been following you from afar and just kind of noticing, and I remember you got your consultancy in EMDR and opened up the institute, and then I read an article on addiction, and I messaged you and said, "Jamie, what about addiction and EMDR? Like, how do you do this?" I thought it was just trauma.
And you took my course.
I took your course.
And then it was funny because all these years later you decided to get certified.
Yep.
And it was interesting being her consultant, taking her through certifications. We had trained at the same time, and you had really been doing a lot of great EMDR all those years.
I hadn't had access to any of that, and so I told her. And then I moved back to the States and told her, gosh, we need to be bringing this to the Middle East and start doing some services for people here so they can get certified and become consultants as well. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So I am just a big believer in the power of networking. When a lot of people ask me just about my job and my teaching life and how I've gotten where I've gotten, so much of my philosophy is have the conversation, extend the hand to shake it, send the email.
Absolutely.
The worst a person could do is say no or not engage. And yeah, it's just cool now when I see trainees coming in for our trainings, becoming friends and getting to know each other, because you never know what is going to come from a lot of these interactions. This is my first trip to the Middle East, period. It's been made possible by our friendship.
Are you asking for a spot at the dinner table?
I love it. So I'll try to post and send some more videos throughout our journey here. Thanks for joining us at the Dubai Mall.